Well, trip with the difference. I've actually got down here before 10 o'clock in the morning. Is this cheap day tickets or what? 3 different lakes in 3 different parts of Hampshire in the same town. £9 something, £9.50, and I can fish all 3. I didn't realise that. So here I am down at the first lake. Now the reason I've come is because a lot of the time I fish there maybe once every 2 years. I come and have a go, try and catch pike. But as you can see, there's a lot of scum coming up there. So I'm actually trying to cast between the scum, looking for a perch or a pike or anything. I'm trying this lake first. Pretty, it's urbanised. I'm in an urban area, so you're going to get traffic noise. But I'm going to give it a go. First few casts are going to go through there, and I'm going to be using this. I don't even know what it is. The swivel's nearly as big as the lure. But there it is. I'm going to try that one. It's probably almost surface fishing here, but I'm going to give it a try purely because I did have a couple of perch here once before, so I'll give it a go and just have a throw. I'm going to work my way right around this lake, and then I'm going to move right around and try the other 2 lakes as well. Now, I've got the old lead here. Let's pull that up a little bit for you. I don't actually think I've cast in this corner before. Let's just see first off, you want to do with the lures, find out if it is a sinker and how fast it sinks. Yeah, 2 seconds, 2 seconds, so pretty well. As soon as that's hit the water, I've got to start it coming back. Just going to bump and twitch it. Probably a blank. I mean, this wouldn't be my main choice of a perch or a pike, but I will say at the moment it appears clear. So I can only do cast and retrieve, and hopefully, I think if I left it too late, if I left it another 2-3 weeks, I would actually not be able to fish this. It would be weedless lures only. So I'm hoping there's enough holes in the weed just to allow me to tweak this and bump it around. That was weed there. The problem being, when you're lure fishing, once you get weed on that lure, the fish, perch or pike, aren't going to take it, in my experience. There's weed on that now, I can feel it dragging. So I try and retrieve it a little bit faster. Yeah. There you go, look, just that slimy weed there. That's enough to tell the fish something is wrong. I won't be spending a lot of time. I'm just going to be working this lure, and hopefully I'll get one hungry, aggressive perch or pike that just grabs at the lure. You'd think they'd be laying up under this weed in this shady area. That's what made me start here first. And I've got polarising glasses so I can look around and actually see if there's any bits of gaps I can fish in close where I could drop this lure, tweak it back, and a fish might just flash out and grab it. Talked to the guy in the tackle shop, and he was saying, I think they sold 1 day ticket in the last weekend, I think it was. So fingers crossed it's not being hammered. Well, I've walked about halfway around this lake. There's another little lake behind it, which I know you can't fish. But you can't help looking, can you? You just cannot help looking everywhere. And there's a nice flow coming through here. You think they'd be fishing there somewhere down that oxygenated area. There's a clear throw down there, but you can see it sort of must go around the lake and circulate all this scum. And this was my my problem. I thought I'd beat all this scum that's coming up with the sunlight. Obviously not. So I'm probably going to scrub this lake, have a few casts just down in there, just because it's clear. Maybe a couple of casts over in that one, and then I think I'll move on to the next lake. But you can't say it's not a pretty lake, is it? It's very pretty. Well, it's pretty unless you're a fisherman and then it's covered in weed. Weed joke, there's algae that pops to the surface in hot weather. That's what I'm trying to beat, the hot weather. Well, it's gin clear. I feel if there was a fish in there, I'd see it. Perhaps not in the fast water, so I'm just going to bump this little plug around there, see if anything grabs it. See, look, that's what you get. As soon as you get that on a lure, forget it. they're not going to take it. I haven't seen anything at all. One pike I saw about 3.5 pounds, maybe 4 pounds, but he wouldn't take it. Put it right in front of his nose, he would not take it at all. I don't think I've known so much weed as there is in here at the moment. I don't see any other sluts. So you've got weed even in the clear water. I'm wondering if it's getting washed through from that other lake. Oh, straight in the weed. Oh, love it. I think 2 or 3 casts and we're done. Look, that's a no-go, folks. What we call lure fishermen, a hopeless situation. You actually spend more time clearing the weed off the line than you do fishing. Well, I'm down at the second lake. And lo and behold, I think the counsellor over there sawing something out with a chainsaw. Very, very weedy, very shallow because we've had no rain. It is at least clear, but you can see way out there I can't make long casts because it's so shallow. The weeds all popped up with the sun. So I figure I've just timed it probably 3 weeks too late coming. And previously I've seen pike down there, but I see nothing at all with my glasses. So it's sort of not even worth having a cast there if you can't see any fish. I'm going to have a walk around, but that's just a no-go out there. Well, looking at it, you could fish, I suppose, a weedless frog over that, but it's pretty chunky stuff. There's one lake left to try, and that one I know gets weed in it, but it might just be a tad deeper. This one's pretty much a no-go. A couple of casts out here, that's all I'm going to manage. I think I'm not going to put a big lure on because it's so gin clear. I think they're going to see this small one if there's anything there. Very often a pike will pop out from under the weed, but this is all fresh weed that's come up. It's not laid in. Look, see, look. Happy days. I think I've got to go back home, having bought 2 tickets to cover 3 lakes, and just help Mike with some painting. And then go sea fishing. Well, as stunning as a day is, I think you'll agree, it is a beauty of a day. It's too good for fishing, to be honest. You'll be in the garden sunbathing. It is definitely a no-go. That is a complete mat, and all these little spots I used to throw up by these bushes, pick the odd pike up, there's absolutely no chance whatsoever. It's a floating weed mat. Well, it's not a clear lake, it is a green lake full of weed. Absolutely amazing. I can hear the traffic going past. I can hear blank coming. Third lake. Might look the same, it's not, it's a different lake. It is, if anything, worse than the other 2 put together. Gin clear, the water's very, very clear, but of course that's what's causing all this pop-up of algae coming off from the bottom. I can, at least with this wind, get a few casts across there, but the problem being a lot of the weed is growing up like this as well, so it's going to snag on my lure, so I've got virtually no depth to work with. So, have a few throws here, and then I think I'll just stick with this small lure. Don't see a point in using a bigger one. I think, if anything, in this clear water and this bright conditions, which is not good for fishing anyway, I might just spook a fish. Well, I've never seen it choked, and I fished this like 40 years ago. For trout, this was all clear, as was another lake behind there, which did have some big roach in there. It was a trout-only fishery, and then I guess it closed down, was taken over. It is a mat of weed. It is unfishable. Blew out big time. Bought 2 day tickets, 3 different lakes, and they're all choked. So I won't be visiting these again anytime soon until next winter when it all dies back. I'm going to try and salvage something, so I'm going to drop off up to Watmore, just see if I can pick a fish off, just 1 carp to salvage it. More driving, folks. Well, I've turned up at Watmore. I've dropped some bait just down here. There's carp. I'll just see if you can see them. You might just be able to make out a nice big carp there, not far short of double figures, cruising on the surface. I've had one come in here and I've only been here 10 minutes while I tackle up. All I've got is a bit of ground bait and some sweet corn. The ducks are going to be a pain here, but the fish are just over there. I might try a Waggler float or a slow sink flake. More hopeful than I was in the other waters because this is so deep here at Watmore. There's no weed problem. I'm going to try slow sink piece of flake first. I think I'll be okay just to keep it away from the ducks. And I think they might follow it down. Now I'm looking for fish that come in here close. Hopefully you can just see down there where I've baited up. And if I can see a single fish, I can target him. No, duck's going to be a problem. Well, I was seeing fish cruising out there, loads of them, but the downers are out there, I can't see them now. The ripples come up, the winds come up, cloud up there. So I've got my rods down here. I walk up while there's nothing down there. I'm just waiting really for almost a self hooker to crash on one of those rods over. So it'll take them a while to come in here, but I have seen one fish come in, and I might just be able to come to Watmore and salvage one fish out of a disastrous lure fishing for pike. That's the way it is. Time for sandwich, boys. The thing is with pike fishing now, I've noticed it's not as popular. I don't think it's as popular with people as it used to be, I'm going to say, even 15, 20 years ago. Maybe people lure fish a bit more now. There are people that go around from the drop shot in that lure fish, and they use, you know, upgrade from perch to pike. But it seems like a lot of the pike waters are just gone. It's not the pike head there used to be. Whether it's otters predating on them, other factors eating them. You know, they take quite a long time to grow. They're fragile, relatively fragile, quite average scrappers, good average scrappers, you know, nice fish to catch. But they don't hold up well. They don't hold up well to angling pressure, a lot of angling pressure. And I do wonder, you know, whether we've seen some of the best of the pike fishing. Of course, people go to these giant reservoirs just to catch 30 to 30, but for general fishing, I'm going to say 3 to 8 pounders, I find personally, not that I'm complaining, I'm just saying, talking to other anglers as well, it's just not the numbers of pike around because there's not the numbers of small fish around. Who knows, here I am on a commercial carp water and I don't yet have a carp. I've had one bang on the rod there and I'm sat well back. I haven't seen a lot caught over there. I've heard of one there and one in the corner. So, just looking for one fish. Bread flake on one on the bottom, double sweet corn on the other on the bottom, right over the ground bait close in. I've just got to wait until they come in and start digging around. Probably half-hour hot time of feeding. It's actually a bit of a strange day today. A lot of ripple came over, cloud came over, which you'd think would be good for the fish to move in. And it's now 4 o'clock, it's about 4:15 in the afternoon. Would not expect them to come in close. And don't seem to have done just yet. Like one fish coming in twice. I have 1, 2 sort of bangs on the rod top, but it could be line bites. I've got my line as close down to stakes as I can, so it's down like this and then away, so they shouldn't get line bites. I think they pick it up and bump it. But it's slicked off beautifully. Thing is, I want to go float fishing now and I can't be bothered to change it. I haven't got the time to do it. but it would be nice for float fishing. But any visual fish over there, I cannot now see anything with that glare, because what happens is the light reflects back off of these clouds out there, and that even with polarizing glasses, I cannot see through the water. Just waiting for one of those rods to crash over. That looked like it then. Could be a roach coming in. There he goes. That's on the sweet corn. Got no buzzers on there. I don't think I need buzzers. Alright, I've touched the edge with him, boys. I've got a fish hooked up. Oh, no idea how big he is. 6 or 8 pounds maybe, I guess. Oh, for a fish just to... I just stood up and looked literally, you know, over the side, and there were 3 tails wagging, digging around, so they're just going to start to come in, hopefully. Oh, it's a good fish. It's going well. But that's safe for blank. Fish about 7. I'd like to catch a 10 chat size, probably 8. Yeah, that'd be 8, that one. Wow, save the blank. Good old Watmore again. No pike, but at least it's a carp. And away he goes. The resultant swell down there, guys, tells you. I'm on again. There was one real big fish out, it'd be about 14-15 pounds. I didn't get that hooked up. It's a smaller fish. But after this morning's episode, the fracas with the weed, 3 different lakes, I'll take anything. Anything puts a bend in the rod. Might even get this one quick actually, which will be nice. Perhaps not. Okay. Feels like a pinger. Feels like me a bit pinging. Wow, he certainly wants to stay on top. Got him. He's in. I thought it was mouthless Malcolm, but it's not. Common carp that's going to go crazy all over my camera lens and my glasses, no doubt. Hook fell out. What a good job. I backed up and thought to come here into the supermarket, packet of corn, loaf of bread, job done. Wow. Major result, people. Major result. I was a little bit concerned with all the antiseptic, anti-bac stuff I've been putting on my hands. Not that I've been shaking hands with people. It might have put them off. You know, it could have gone onto the bait and tainted it. Mind you, look at the state of this rag. There's not much that wouldn't taint. I think that would probably kill COVID. Has it been washed? When I called him 9 3/4, I want to say he's 10, but he's not really. So 9 1/2, 9 3/4. 3 fish. Well pleased. Let's get him back. Yeah, that's a good fish. A good one. I can get him out. Come on, pal. There he goes. Gone. Well, how the day turns round. There's one guy in the corner fishing down there, so I better give it 15 minutes, no more, then I'm going to get into trouble. I'm actually standing to the side of the swimming by the hedge, and I can put my cap on. So if there's one coming in there, I can see him in that angle there and just lower down on top of him. At the moment, that last fish has done it and he's spooked off. I'll just try one further out there. I've got one BB shot about 6 inches from the hook now, moved it very close. And sometimes you occasionally get them as it hits the lake bed. There's a fish down there now. Gonna lower it down there. Oh, I've got the fish somewhere on him somewhere. What happened then? I struck with one rod and I got him on the other. He's stripping me right out, so I'm pretty sure he's foul hooked on the other rod. That's bizarre. Doubt we'll get him in. Could jack the drag right up on this one. I'll bring that up for you. Almost sure the bite was on the left hand rod, struck, and it pulled the line on the left hand rod. I think foul hooking the fish. We'll find out in a minute. It's not a big fish. If I've got any line left on the reel. Oh, he's going to be hooked in the tail. Right, guys, I'm going to switch that off. Oh, he's still going. I'm going to switch this off a minute, and if I do manage to stay attached, I'll come back to you. Well, I've got him a good way back. A lot of line back on. But he's definitely going to be foul hook fish. Indeed, he's coming in tail first. Big fish, though. It's a good one. I'm going to drop the microphone to get the fish. And there we go, fish. Fish about 8 pounds on the rod that I wasn't even holding. Hopefully, he's going to be calm. He's coming backwards. Oh, quite nice markings on that one. Wow, that's a nice fish. Lucky, lucky, lucky. Thanks for watching. It's a totally awesome fishing show. I'm off to do some jobs tomorrow. Really? Gone. What a setting to close out on. Absolutely superb. No weed as well, no weed. One of my favourite floats to use was called a Billy Makin, who was a matchman, Billy Makin Canal Grey. I don't actually know if there's anybody old enough out there to know of the Billy Makin Canal Grey. If you've heard of it, if you've used them, if you've heard of Billy Makin's Canal Grey, mention it in the comments, because it's an old float. I don't have to make them now. I got original ones here. Let me show you. It snaps. They do snap very easily. They almost need storing independently from other floats, not rattling around in your box. They are super, super delicate. And obviously for canal fishing, for small fish, but you can use them for, I tell you, I use them for crucian carp, close in, under the rod top. They got to breathe on it, the float's under, pop, you're on. This is how they can be mended, or indeed any float can be mended. I know, I've done it with other Waggler and antenna floats. Oh dear, we must have all had them a snap float. Now these things, as you can see, are pencil thin with a low body there. Very, very slimline body, almost like an antenna float body, so it does slide under the minimal resistance. But as you can see, that ain't sticking and staying, is it? It's not going to happen. I've done it, I've tried it, super glue, whatever. But I'll tell you what you can get. You can get this stuff, valve rubber tubing, which you get for cutting up and making, you know, your float stops up here when you want to put a float rubber up here. This is bottom end only, half a bottom end only. So you can either lock it either side of the ring there. There would normally be a little ring, you can just see there maybe, or you can slide a valve rubber over, you know, or if you have an ordinary float that's broken, say a river float, a bodied float, you can put a float rubber at the top, what they call top and bottom, top there and bottom. The way I do this is get a piece of valve rubber. These are different size diameters, you know, colour coded as well. But all you do is you just get a piece, get a pair of scissors, just snip off, let's say, I'm going to say, it needs to go to about there, about that much section. Now you can just put a bit of spit on the top of the float there if you wanted. I'm doing this around the other side. Now this is going to be tight going on there, but it's flexible because it's what we call valve rubber tubing. Now see how I'm working it up there? Be careful with you could, listen, I don't even bother gluing this, to be honest, because if you work it up there, if you do it not in a cold environment, but if you do it in a warm environment, you heat it up like this, the friction from my fingers here. Look, that's it, I'm heating the rubber around there, just like twisting and pushing at the same time. And then leave yourself a good bit at the other end. Not particularly neat there, Graeme. Just try and warm it up a bit, that's what I'm trying to do. What you best do really is either, I could try it with the scissors here, just taper any rough bits off like this. But you could use a bit of sandpaper if you want. Just like that. I can actually get it started a bit more. Now you just push those down until such time as they're both sort of touching. That's it, that's about right. Trust me, that float is, if I pull back, totally repaired. Look, if I did that normally, I'd snap the float, and all you got to do every now and then is just tighten up like this, so it's nice and straight. There's the ring, and there's the float repaired. I've got loads like that I've repaired, so there it is, a piece of valve rubber tubing of the right diameter, and at least you can salvage a float. And I've caught loads and loads of fish on repaired floats like this. It's definitely better than gluing. Right, talking of floats, let's move on again to setting up a Waggler float. Okay, here is a standard Waggler float. Now the Waggler float is always attached bottom end only, not at the top of the float, at the bottom. Now with many Wagglers you'll find there is a little ring there, a little eyelet that you can go through like this, and it will sit, come back here you, just like that. The line goes through the eye at the bottom. It's all for beginners, Experts go back to making a cup of tea or whatever, but beginners it might help. Then you lock that either side, you can lock it either side. But if you want to change floats, you've got to take all the shot off, untie the hook or snip the hook and retie again, slide this all off. Whereas if you use this method, more of a matchman's method, it's a piece again of valve rubber there, you can just see that. I've got my shot on there because this way, although you've got the eye on the float there, you can slide this valve rubber over there, again warm it, twist it, it's harder on a colder day, and there you go, make sure it goes right up. That float is attached. I've still got my locking shot either side, as you can see, like that. It's also got, I can move this float and roll it, which I couldn't do if I'd only attached it through the eyelet of the float. It would twist the line. So this can twist and won't tangle, and you've still got your locking shot either side. But the benefit being, of course, if I give that a pull, off it pops. I can get a different float on there, slide the valve rubber up there, and hey ho, I've changed my float. I would obviously change the float. I can change the shotting pattern. So I put, let's say it's a 2AA, that one was a 3AA. I just open up the shot, take the shot off, or if I've got a bigger one, if it's a windy day, you want a heavier Waggler float, I put another shot on. Just a tip. And of course, with a Waggler like this one, you can shot it down to the black area, there, see it goes black, yellow, red. Obviously the standard way would be to there, but you can also undershot it so you get lift bites like this, or you can actually shot it so you put a small shot on the bottom about 6 inches from the hook to stop it dragging out of position. So let's put him in our little aquarium and you can see what it looks like. So let's start by dropping the Waggler into the aquarium. You'll see that's 3 AAA shots, it right down perfectly there. You have the yellow below the water, orange on top. There's the bulk of the body which takes those 3 AAA shot. But you can also adjust that by putting, say, a number 1 or a number 4 shot onto the trace just below that. You'll see that, and you'll watch it take it, what we call pips it right down. If I bring it in there, you'll see it's what? Well, 1/4 of an inch, 1/2 an inch. And if you've got very fine bites with the Waggler, that one shot will actually, what we call, balance it. Now you can also, look, put a shot about 4 to 6 inches from your hook. You can also bait up with the latest craze bait, which is a strip of ham cut to look like a worm. Depending how thin a piece of ham you get, the wafer thin cut. Somebody told me recently this was the bait they're catching on. It's going to be worth a go. And there, it looks like a worm, and it is catching carp apparently at the moment. He goes down to the lake bed. There goes the shot with it. But if you'll notice this time, being 4 inches from the hook, if I set it all up correctly, the shot will stop. I can find it now, I can't look at it. Where the heck have I put it? It's in there somewhere. There it is, just the bottom of the camera there, bottom of the frame. The shot's on the lake bed, and that will basically pin your bait there to the lake bed and also stop the float here dragging out position, because sometimes if the wind drags it, it will pull that float under, and you'll think it's a bite and it's not, it's just wind drag. You can also get the benefit of a lift bite, which brings the float up higher. So don't neglect the 3 AAA shot, but if you don't want it to drift, put a smaller shot down near the bait. Well, there you go. Might help some of the beginners out there. I think the most important thing is, if you've got a bit of a ripple, bit of a breeze on the water, that one little shot, say 4 to 6 inches from the hook, will just slow any drag, you know, of that Waggler float dragging the bait out of position, pin it to the bottom, and when it picks it up, you will see the float go up, and if it moves away the fish, you'll see it slide under. Anyhow, that's what it is. So, another job I was doing. Now, what was the other job I was doing? Oh yeah, out in the Totally Awesome workshop. If those of you who don't follow TA Outdoors, you know, they wouldn't know this anyway, but we had our ancient pallet cabin broken into. I guess just vandals, smashed windows and stuff like that. Now, we've had that 6, 8 years or something like that in one of the woodlands. So, a bit annoying, but Uncle Graeme thought, I'm pretty sure I can repair that. And I did, in the pallet cabin. And I cut the glass myself. Well, happy days. We got our famous pallet cabin back. Check it out, how to build a pallet cabin. God knows, 30 million views or something catastrophic it's had. But a bit of fun building it and a bit of fun playing in it with a stove and having a cook up. It's a nice little place I like going, to be honest, especially in the winter. Now, you guys have been waiting for it. Paused, coiled like a serpent, just waiting to strike. Yeah, theory time. Okay. Now, I've noticed this year, I don't just make these things up, you know. I do notice things, I try and notice what's going on in the world around me. I've noticed this year loads of pigeons getting wasted in front of cars. Even, we went round to see, sort of funny but not funny for the pigeon. We go round to Mike's house, just driving along, thought, oh wow, squash, nasty, nasty in the middle of the road. And this lady had just reversed over a pigeon that never got out of the way. She's not driving down the road, she's on a little estate, just splattered this pigeon. It just never got out of the way. Now, I must have driven over 10 or 15, not over, up to, that were 100% would have splattered under my car. They are so slow taking off, and it's like, they're dopey. And I have been thinking about this for a while. I thought, there's something different, there's something going wrong with the pigeons. Put it up on Google, I thought, what about people that do racing pigeons? They specialise in pigeons. Oh yeah, there is something definitely going on. I had to look it up, I have to say. But I thought, oh, I knew there's something going on. I've heard so much about 5G, not that I even know what it is, but I looked it up. And what they reckon is mobile phone towers and other telecommunication sources, i.e. like 5G, emit a low-level radio frequency electromagnetic fields, also called radio waves. I always have to write this down, I couldn't remember that all in one go. It's well established that some animals, like pigeons, rely on electromagnetic fields. Now maybe this huge increase in signal mobile phone activity is affecting them and it's stopping them flying off the ground. They're going, oh, here comes a car. Now, hang on a minute, what's a car? I seem to remember, what's a car? It's got wheels, it's getting closer. Oh, come on, what is it? Yes, it's something that kills pigeons. It runs over them and it makes them a flat pigeon. It is a non-pigeon. I think there's something wrong with their brains myself. Now, it appears that a lot of racing pigeons have been lost. Wait for this, and it seems to coincide with the growth of the telephone masts, the radio transmission masts. And then one figure jumped out, hang on, 2021, as I do this in 2022, this is last year. In 2021, around, wait for this, 5,000 racing pigeons just disappeared, right? Of 9,000 that were released. I think it was Peterborough in the UK. So a huge release of a racing event. 5,000 lots. Now you think pigeons, I've got shots of pigeons, they've been nailed by a sparrowhawk or something like that. I thought it was a kestrel originally, but it might be a sparrowhawk. So they get killed. They do get eaten naturally. Racing pigeons will get eaten by other birds, predatory birds. But not 5,000 on one release day. That's catastrophic. Wait for this. I don't think they know where they are. Also, wait for this, heavy losses have been noted in Portugal and Belgium. So what do you guys think out there? Are these electromagnetic fields affecting, who knows, pigeons? Are they affecting us? I don't know. I just figure it's worth throwing out there. But the fact that 5,000 pigeons, racing pigeons, and these ones will be in good condition, they'll be fed on the right stuff, they are racing pigeons, they've all just disappeared off the face of the planet. Have they gone somewhere else? Are they in Mongolia or somewhere like that? I don't know. Maybe you guys know about pigeons out there, but more important, have you noticed pigeons are, you will now, you'll be looking for them. The pigeons in the road, I don't know what they're in, I think they're in there for grit, I'm not sure, but they're just so slow taking off. They're like, yeah, here comes a car. You know, I'm sure there's something wrong there. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching this issue, the Theory Time. Get you thinking. You'll be laying awake at night tonight or Googling everything you can find out about why are the pigeons getting splattered by the cars. Might not be actually that search engine term, but something like that. Anyway, I hope there's some stuff there for all you guys. Come on, Everything's big in here, wrong glasses. Ah, that's better. We'll see you in the next one. Hit the subscribe button, hit the TA Outdoors one as well, hit the like button if you feel so inclined. If you don't want to hear anything, don't worry, I'll still try and make the films for you. We'll see you next time. I enjoyed this one, and you know what, even though it's getting colder, those floats are going out. I'm going to have a go for Xander at night, and I'm going to have a go again for those catfish at night. I really enjoyed it. Anybody knows where the floats came from? Let us know in the comments page. See you next time.